Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. So what's on your mind today?
Well, I've actually been watching some things and the whole accusing of pagans of, in the old days of sacrificing humans left and right everywhere. It just...
Okay.
There's some things about it that sort of bothers me.
Bothers you?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it a little bit then.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm not saying human sacrifices did not happen.
Right.
All right. Again, yes, they happened. I just don't think they're as widespread as some of the reports we get.
Well, I don't think so either. I mean, I know in some civilizations like the Mayan cultures, we know that there were human sacrifices.
Right. They wrote about them and explained them and the whole nine yards.
Right.
And that, again, I'm back to, I completely understand this actually happened.
Right.
All right. My problem is the way it's sometimes worded by other religions about our sacrifices. All right. They were killing babies and the whole nine yards. And I'm sorry, even in some of in some of these other religions' texts, they're doing the exact same thing about sacrificing babies and other things too.
Right. There were some instances where that was included, yes.
All right. But again, it's always made out like pagans did it. So here's my question. How do we know the difference between a sacrifice, a mercy killing, and an execution? Are you with what I'm saying here? Because again, if it's a mercy killing, again, what we're talking about is either a baby's sick or got injured or something like that, or there's no food or whatever. A mercy killing would look almost like a ritual sacrifice. I think because again, if you're going to do this, if you're going to commit a fanticide, all right, kill a baby because we're out of food or whatever, you would probably do it with some ritual garb and stuff like that because you want the passing, you want them to be accepted on the other side to be better off. So there would be some ritual there besides not like you're just throwing out the trash.
Yeah, I could totally see that, yeah.
Are you with what I'm saying? So again, are all the sacrifices that they claim to find around the world, are they actually all sacrifices?
Well, probably not. I mean, if we look at it, just like you said, I mean, there are instances where it's more of a mercy killing. It's whoever it is not going to survive the winter. Could be an elder,
right?
Could be a newborn baby, could be livestock. It could be anything, but
could be
if they're not going to survive the winter, all it's going to do is put an extra strain on the tribe.
Right.
Why wouldn't you eliminate that?
Well, I mean,
logically speaking, why wouldn't you do that?
Well, that's just like everybody assuming that, hey, they found the most greatest warrior, then they sacrifice them. That don't make sense to me either. You would want your greatest warrior to live long enough to at least have some kids.
Right.
I mean...
yeah.
So again...
Hopefully pass on those genetics.
Those genetics and that training and what he's learned and all that to their kid. Sacrificing your best warriors while you're in the middle of a war or something to please the gods to help them return doesn't make no sense because you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot.
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand that, some cultures might have done this during extreme measures, as if we have no other way of thinking about how in the world to do this. Famine, plague, the whole world falling apart.
Right.
To them. And I can understand maybe sacrificing the best warrior or whatever, but
not during time of war.
Not during time of war, not during a time of peace, not just because, it's a Wednesday.
Right. But to me, that would be kind of like, okay, so if we look at it, the king and the land were entwined with each other, right?
Well, yeah, according to Celtic mythology.
Right,
yeah.
And so if the king was prospering, so the land prospered.
Right.
Right? You wouldn't kill the king during a prosperous time because then your land's going to go to hell.
Right. I mean, you're killing off the land too. So,
why would you do that?
I mean, and that's just for them to take a message directly to the gods on the other side to come and actually help.
Right.
Is the idea behind this.
So why would you do that?
Why? I mean, I understand the logic, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm just still saying it would have to be something. I mean, it's not like our ancestors did not know how to survive. I mean, they'd been doing it for quite a number of years now. I mean, so again, I have a problem with this.
Well, I do too. My problem is the way we view sacrifice. I don't know, and I can't say for certainty. We don't have, as far as I know, we don't have any archaeological evidence to support this, but the way I view sacrifice now is to make holy.
Right.
So if I'm sacrificing something, I'm making it holy before the gods. Why would I just randomly do that?
Well, there's also two different types of sacrifice. What we're talking about, what again, in the pagan community, the majority of us are used to an idea of a sacrifice to where, yes, we might use a chicken during a ritual or something, and especially in some voodoo practices and stuff like this, where in the world the chicken winds up getting killed or sacrificed during the ritual.
Yeah.
But it's normally taken away real fast and prepped for dinner.
Right. But no, I'm going back to the whole sacrificing like the warrior or sacrificing your baby because it's not going to make it through the winter. To me, you're doing that for a purpose. And it is to make holy. It's to make something holy. Like you're sacrificing that warrior to make future generations better warriors. Right? Or you're sacrificing the baby to make that sacrifice. It's a holy sacrifice because it's for the betterment of the tribe.
Right. But again, the way it's told, the way we hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. I have to ask. I mean, again, corporate punishment. I mean, how do we know what the difference is? I mean, because they didn't put the body back, they might have put the head and still buried it with the body and all this. Are we sure that was a sacrifice and not corporate punishment?
Corporal punishment, yeah.
I mean, are you with what I'm saying? Are we sure about that?
Well, no, because again, we don't have any archaeological evidence. There's no records to support any of those theories.
Because at the end of the day, because I'm going to bring this up, for us to not see rituals done during, no matter what this was, doesn't make no sense to me. Because again, people back then, they did a ritual for everything. It was part of their mentality. If we didn't do this, it wouldn't go right, and all this. Right. So again, each one of these, two of these, what we're talking about, aren't real sacrifices, but they would still show what most people would consider signs of a ritual sacrifice.
Right, because there would still be ritual behind it.
Right. So again, this is where I have a problem. Are we actually looking at as many sacrifices as we are, or are we looking at something else?
Well, I mean, even today, if we look at it, people on death row, if they're going to go be electrocuted or they're getting, the injection, lethal injection, whatever, they get a last meal.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is a ritual that we perform all the time to prisoners on death row.
Right.
It's a ritual. So even then, why wouldn't you expect some ritual to be performed before executing someone?
Because, the reason I bring this up is because when I was looking this up and trying to get, and I was nosing around about this because I got curious, is because everybody kept on saying, well, the reason they're sacrifices is because we see signs of ritual. And I'm sitting back going, well, is it really?
No.
But you're with what I'm saying. Yeah. Because you say that, all right, but would it really? I would want to do a ceremony if I had to sacrifice my baby so the tribe will live.
Right.
So I don't have to sit there and watch my kid starve to death. I mean, it's one thing if it's the middle of winter when this happens, setting it out for the elements is one thing, but I don't know if I would want to set my baby out in the middle of spring or something where the wolves would be tearing it apart instead.
Right.
Would you rather bash his head in and bury it instead of leaving it for the elements?
Yeah.
Are you with what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, as a parent, I could see that if I didn't have any other choice, especially if the enemies are, banging at my cave door about to come in and rape all the women and kill everybody. And,
right.
I could see a parent sitting there doing that. They don't want their kids to go through that horror before being killed.
Yeah, I mean, is it barbaric? Yes.
Yes.
But I mean, we're talking about a time in history when things were barbaric.
Right. We're talking about a time in the world where I'm sorry, you got the flu, you were probably going to die.
Right.
There's a good chance. I mean,
and there was probably a good chance that they were just going to execute you so that you didn't use up valuable resources because they knew you weren't going to survive.
Right. So again. So I have a problem where people keep on going, well, they sacrifice this, and where's your proof?
I mean, I could see where it could be counted as a sacrifice, but I don't think, surely not everything was a sacrifice.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, there were laws. When laws get broken, people get executed. That's not a sacrifice. That's
corporate punishment.
That's corporal punishment. That's,
Well, I mean, again, banishing people from the tribe was basically signing a death warrant because you're out there alone. Nobody can survive out in the wilderness by themselves.
Right.
Especially back in these days.
Mm-hmm. Again, not a sacrifice.
Not a sacrifice. Corporate punishment. I'm sorry that they died and they couldn't survive on their own, but they can't stay in the tribe.
Right.
When you have people like that in tribes, trust me, you feel their effects a whole lot more than living in a big city or something like that, where you got, and it don't really affect you.
Right.
So are we really thinking about all this correctly?
Probably not.
So, and that's the only thing I bring up. That's the only reason I bring this up, because it sort of gives me the willies the wrong way. Because again, when we talk about sacrifices now, we're talking about things that are probably going to be eaten.
Right.
Where other religions, for some reason, we're going to sacrifice something, we have to burn the carcass to where there's nothing left whatsoever.
Yeah.
That seems more of a waste to me.
I mean, I would think if we're going to sacrifice an animal, which we don't, but, whatever. If we were going to, I would think that it would be more along the lines of you slaughter the animal in a ritual.
Right.
And then it gets prepped.
Right.
And then the meat will either get cured or it goes onto the fire and into, in a kettle or whatever, and it gets cooked and then it's eaten.
Right.
Because it's been blessed.
Well, again, because here's probably what these people did. There's probably they probably do a ritual before going to hunt. Then they catch something. There's probably a ritual for when they actually catch something.
Yes.
Then when they bring it back and slaughter it, there's probably another ritual.
Yes.
I mean, again, because it's this concept of why people pray before meals. Mm-hmm. The reason we pray before meals is to keep us from getting sick from food poisoning. Because back in the day, food poisoning was quite common.
Right.
Because they didn't have the safety prep and stuff we know now.
Right. Food preparation was not what it is now.
No. It was done to prevent you. It was done as a preventative thing to...
Right.
So again, this is how these people thought about rituals and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That this would be the equivalent of us taking airborne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think people understand that anymore, how we used to think in the past on this. When we sit there and we say our religion was their life, that all these things had to be done. If not, you're going to get sick, or you could get sick, or...
Right. This wasn't just something like a lot of religion is, for a lot of people, is for now, well, nowadays, where it's something we do once a month, or we do it once or twice a week, or whatever. For them, it's just like you said, it was intertwined with daily life. It was,
if it wasn't done, this would be like you not taking your vitamins or not having, it's like you getting up in the morning and going to work without your coffee.
Right.
Or your drink or whatever that you have first thing in the morning.
Right.
As soon as that happens, your day's messed up.
Right.
Anybody that had to go to the doctor and get blood work done knows exactly what I'm talking about. That whole day is just sort of...
It's off because you've had to fast and you've had no coffee.
Your morning ritual was disturbed.
Right, it's been interrupted.
So the rest of the day don't feel right.
Right.
This is the same thing for these people. It wasn't any different. If we didn't do it, how can I put it's Mars on retrograde, or what is it?
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, Mercury retrograde. All right. I didn't do my prayers this morning. I forgot to do my incense. I forgot to tell the ancestors to watch over me today. So therefore, I'm going to have a bad day.
Right.
This, and I know we find this silly, but we honestly believe this.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, it's one of those things. If you look at it if you look at it this way, when you do something on a regular basis, just like we've been saying, and I know it feels like we're running around in circles, but when you do it on a regular basis, it goes beyond being a habit.
Right.
It becomes a part of your day. It becomes a part of everything that you do.
Right. It's like getting a tooth pulled or something like that, and you're
right. You spend time with your tongue
just
up in that empty spot, you know,
for no reason.
No reason at all.
You really shouldn't be doing it anyway, but we all do it.
Right. We all do it.
All right.
So, you know, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just so weird to think that people can't grasp this concept.
Well, the wrong reason I bring this up is because this is why I think there would be ritual for these other things too.
Well, sure, yeah.
If we're doing rituals and certain things throughout the day for this, why wouldn't we do the same thing here?
Mm-hmm.
Again, so they're all going to wind up looking alike. They're all going to look like, you know, ritual killings, but we really don't know the intent behind what was going on.
Right. Again, we don't have records for that. We don't have archaeological evidence. All we have is bones.
And we're making some assumption there on what in the world's going on.
Right. Which can be dangerous.
All right. Now, again, I'm not saying that archaeologists don't know what they're doing and all this, and they got a good guess, but
they do make assumptions.
There are some things I think they make a large assumptions on. You know, but again, they probably have to in their field. I mean.
Well, and I get that, but, you know, do you know what they say about assuming?
Yeah.
So that's why I have a problem with this. You know, when you speculate, you're potentially giving out wrong information. And I think I think instead of just spewing out things like, oh, well, you know, they did all these ritual sacrifices.
Yeah.
Why don't you turn around and say, we don't know if these were all ritual sacrifices.
Right.
But we can tell, we can theorize by the evidence that we found that there was ritual involved.
Right. Because I think when I was looking this up, what I had found is there's only like 10% of the viruses out there that can actually show up in your bones. So we can't tell what babies were sick with measles, chickenpox, and stuff necessarily, and the parents thought the baby was going to die and was suffering to begin with.
Right. Because you got to figure at that time there were no treatments for a lot of things.
No. I mean, there were no really good, there wasn't necessarily good herbalists that they were sort of still in that process of not knowing and half putting stuff together sometimes. I mean. Yeah,
well, I think as far as that aspect goes, I think it was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what our ancestors did when they, you know, came to the mountains of North Carolina.
A lot of trial and error.
There was a lot of trial and error because it was all new stuff to work with, you know. It's not the stuff they had in Europe.
So again, it's keeping your mind in those when we're talking about this. That's the only question I had about all this is, are we sure they're actually all really human, quote unquote, sacrifices for some religious context, or were they mercy killings or possibly capital punishment?
Yeah. Well, again, we can't know that for sure.
No, but it is. I mean, it's not like they didn't do these activities back then too. So
they had to.
They had to. Any
type of civilization, you have to have these things in place.
Well, I mean, again, let's pick up Ugg. All right. I mean, Ugg got hurt. I mean, Ugg went out and tried to, you know, get a wildebeest and wound up tackling with a tiger or something.
Right.
And now he's in the cave screaming for 2 days, causing every animal and every predator to come there to the cave.
Right.
Okay, now we have a bigger problem. What do we do about Ugg?
Right.
Do we let Ugg just sit there and keep on going on and on for days or weeks, possibly dying, or do we take a rock to them and then set them outside and let the animal, so they'll go away?
Right. Take them far away and just let the animals have them. Right.
So again, got to ask. Sorry, Ugg.
Sorry, Ugg. We love you.
I'm ready for some coffee.
Let's talk about the wheel of the year.
Okay.
All right.
Anything
I have an
specific about
issue.
it?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
Of course I do. Come on. Say it.
Mm-hmm.
When don't I have an issue? Okay. Well, first of all, let's do this. All right. I think the wheel of the year that we see all over the place that you would pull up online is wrong.
Okay.
And I'm going to start this off first of all by saying let's break this circle apart like we normally do. Okay. Well, we have our grands and we have our lessers separate, right?
Right.
The way it's set up, the way we see this, all right, the grands are set up for the southern hemisphere, not the northern hemisphere.
You mean on the way it's depicted?
On the way it's depicted on the wheel of the year.
Yeah, the majority of the majority of the ones that we see. I'm looking and I see two different ones that are floating around, and
yep,
it's one with Samhain, Beltane, Lunasa, and Imbolc as the quarters. And then
we don't do that. We put them on the cross quarters.
And then there's the one that has them on the cross quarters, but Samhain is in the northwest.
Northwest.
Yeah.
And again, that one right there is for the southern hemisphere. Here's the reason why. Let's take a moment and look at the lessers, all right? The lessers are correct. Okay, why are they correct? Where you have the winter solstice in the south, and you have the summer solstice in the north, and you have the equinoxes on the north, on the east and west, right?
Right.
Because these things, okay, because again, the summer solstice is when the sun is at its farthest point away from the earth.
Right.
And that is the summer solstice. That is the summer for the northern hemisphere, not the southern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When the northern hemisphere is in winter and we're going into the winter solstice, the sun is at its closest point to the earth.
Yes.
Before everybody gets confused, that's because of the tilt of the earth, which is caused by the moon.
Right.
All right. The moon is the reason we have the 4 seasons. The moon is associated with the goddess. So therefore, the goddess is the reason for the season changes.
Right.
Pretty simple, right?
You would think.
Well, here's my point, though. The reason I'm going through all this is because when does the southern hemisphere experience winter?
Well,
technically, it is after the summer equinox, right before the summer solstice, when the sun is at its farthest point from the earth. That's when they're having their winter. Because remember, Samhain and the grands are seasonal celebrations.
Yes.
All right. Samhain is changing from fall into winter. That happens for the southern hemisphere after the summer equinox, but before the summer solstice, which puts it in the northwest corner.
It's our summer solstice, but it's their winter solstice.
It's their winter solstice.
And it's just the way you're saying it, just like they're having winter in the middle of summer.
Summer, right. Hence the reason why I kept on sitting here saying, that's the reason why I keep on sitting here saying, and I stated that. I'm looking at the winter solstice as when the sun is at the closest point to the earth, not winter itself.
But
summer solstice is when the sun is the farthest away from the earth.
But wouldn't it
not necessarily summer?
I was just gonna say, wouldn't it be it's furthest from the earth for the northern hemisphere and closest for the southern because of the tilt?
No, because we're talking about the distance between the earth and the sun as planetary bodies.
So we're still having, so you're
not
saying
talking continents.
Right. So you're saying we're still having this, and this is the confusion that a lot of people have. And that's why I'm covering this is that it is the same solstice.
Right. It's the same solstice.
They're
The only
calling
reason
it.
we
They're
refer-
calling it different because of their weather at that time.
Well, again, the lessers were made for the northern hemisphere.
Right.
That part of the circle is correct for the northern hemisphere. It will also be correct for the southern hemisphere. They're just calling it the wrong names.
Right.
Okay. In other words, we probably should not be calling it the summer solstice and the winter solstice. It really just should be something else, but it's really the point. It has nothing to do with the season. It has to do with how far away the sun is from the earth.
Right.
Hence the reason why in the world they don't change, because the earth experienced both of these things all at the same time.
Right.
But, well, see, here's the problem. When does the northern hemisphere experience winter? When does our winter start?
Our winter starts in what, like November?
It starts
October, November.
Well, no, it starts after the autumn equinox and before the winter solstice.
No, yeah.
Which puts it in the southeast corner to start the calendar in the northern hemisphere. That's
Right.
where Samhain should be.
Right.
And then all the other ones follow suit.
Right.
But again, we're using that main picture that we see is for the southern hemisphere, not the northern.
Yeah, right, which is why it's opposite of the way we celebrate things.
Right. I hope that made sense, because that is so confusing.
I hope it did too, but we've probably just confused the hell out of a lot of people.
Oh, God, I know. Well, sitting there trying to explain to people that in the northern hemisphere, when it's wintertime, the sun and the earth are at its closest point.
Well,
right.
And here's the thing. The reason we have an issue with this is because for us in the northern hemisphere, Samhain is always in the southeast.
Right.
And that's our gateway.
Well, at least it should be.
Right. But I mean, that's our gateway. Like when we cast circle, that's where Samhain is for us.
Right. Well, again, it's there because, again, this is where the time period is. It happens between these two celestial events.
Right.
Just like it does for the southern hemisphere, it happens during those two celestial events on the opposite side.
Right. But it's just like the water in the toilets. Everything's opposite.
Everything's opposite.
I mean,
this is nothing more than the same thing. But again, we all sit back and pretend like that one from the southern hemisphere is right for the whole entire planet, and we don't pretend like that isn't a little play there.
Right.
I mean, because technically, that the light that we lose going into winter, it doesn't actually go nowhere. It just moves to the southern hemisphere.
Right.
Their days get longer while our days get shorter.
Right.
And to make it even worse, like I said, I think what makes this all harder to keep in everybody's head is that we have the summer solstice and the winter solstice and
the equinoxes.
Because those are and the autumn and the spring equinoxes. Right. When we start putting those seasons on them things, it sort of messes us up when we're talking about this, because the seasons are actually caused by the tilt of the earth, which is caused by the moon.
Right. I mean, you got to think about it. In September, for the northern hemisphere, that's when we're getting the fall or autumnal equinox. But for the southern hemisphere, they're getting spring.
They're getting spring.
For them, it's a spring equinox. You know, when we're having spring, they're getting fall.
Well, again,
so I'm with you. It should be something. Just call it something different.
I could go ahead and argue this as far as, yes, even the lessers, you might be able to, if you flip the names, it would make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to keep in mind of the position of the sun during the solstice and the equinoxes, and what they actually represent, and that it's planet-wide.
Right.
You know, it's just, it just always drives my students up the wall when you sit there and try to explain to them, yes, when winter happens, the sun and the earth are actually at the closest point for us.
Mm-hmm.
And to sit there and watch their little brains turn into mud and roll out their ears and go, stop!
Right.
Make it make sense. Well, I mean, it is one of those things that are a little, it's not what you would expect it to be. So when you learn it, you're like, that don't sound very intuition.
Right. Not really. I mean,
No. So have I less confused you? Because I have a feeling if I less confuse you.
well, no, it's just that when you first started things out, you know, that's the confusion that everybody experiences. So I was trying to get it a little more clear.
No, that's fine. All right. Let me just remind people, for the southern hemisphere, they have their winter starts after our spring equinox, but before the summer solstice for us.
Right.
Which sounds really strange coming out of your mouth.
Well, an easier way to put that is, okay, around March, they are going into winter.
Their winter.
Around September, they are going into summer.
Right.
It's completely opposite from us. It's as simple as that. Where it's confused are the names. When we put the names.
Are the names.
When you put the names in place and all that other stuff, and it's,
And you start to say it doesn't make no sense. You're like,
Right. And even if you call it the autumnal equinox, it's not autumn for them.
I know. Now are you ready for some coffee?
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning